So I had to learn this lesson the hard way again about 2 weeks ago. And what I realised is when I'm pitching people what I do, I get very lost. And I get very lost in the wording. I get very lost in being concise and saying the exact words that I do. And I've mentioned this in previous episodes, but go into a bit more detail now. You need to be hitting keywords. You need to be hitting key trigger words that your target audience, your target prospects want to hear. So if you're going to be, I'm going to use myself as an example, I do video editing. Now I can do video editing across the board, but I specialise in video editing for podcasters, so they're my target audience. If I'm at a podcasting convention or I'm at a video editing convention, there's certain trigger words that I would need to tell people within the first sentence. So they either know to gauge, so they either know whether to pay attention to what I'm saying or whether they're going to just sort of glaze over and move on to the next person. Video editing has to be in there, 100%. Short form video editing needs to be in there, or social media video editing needs to be in there, so they know that it can be used across multiple platforms. They know that if they hear short form, straight away they're going to think TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, other platforms where you can throw, I think most of them can host short form content now. Another word that needs to be in there is podcasts. Because there's no point in me going off on a tangent about I'm a video editor and I don't mention the fact that I can do video editing for that exact person. They're a podcaster. They could be in the market just for a video editor alone. If that's the case and they hear short form, they might then ask, do you do long form as well? Which I could say, yeah. But I want the key word to be in there. Video editing, short form, podcasts. As long as those 3 words are thrown in there, what I do, the style of which I do it, and who I do it for. You're not going to include pricing. You're not going to include packaging. You're not going to necessarily include all the experience and this. And you want 3 or 4 key words in your first sentence that let people know exactly what you do. So if they're looking for a copywriter, they're not going to come to me. You could argue short form might not be in there, but I would personally imagine most people that look at short form editing or hear video editing just in general are going to ask, do you do long form as well? But if the conversation escalates, I can include that. And you want to include exactly what they're doing. So as I say, always specify for podcasters. So I want to make sure that podcasters know that. But if I mention podcasts and somebody who does video games says, oh, well, do you not do like this sort of editing or that sort of editing? Yeah, I can do that. I can do that editing, but I specialise in this. So it's something to definitely work on. And I was meant to research this. I believe it's called an elevator pitch, but you want to, if you're stuck in an elevator with someone for 10 to 20 seconds, you want to be able to pitch what you do, how you do it, and who you do it for to them within that space of time. Because you've only got that much time until, especially face to face, until they've lost interest. Their phone might go off, they might be late for a meeting, they might be getting off at the next floor. You need to be able to be as concise as possible of what you do. So work on an introduction. Whatever business model you're doing, work on an introduction that takes you no longer. I'd say 10 seconds. Because if you do it in 10 seconds, you've then got time for them to ask questions. You've then got time for them to, if they're intrigued and it's something that they're actually in the market for, you've got time for them to show you that curiosity, ask more questions, you can then answer them, and you could potentially get some sort of work from that, or even just a network. They might just take your number or take your social media accounts. But I'll pass this on to XYZ. If they do that, take their social media and follow up with them in a week's time. You never know what might happen, but being concise and hitting those key phrases is massive. And as I say, I had to learn that personally a few weeks ago. That's why I love that question.